Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So the camera feels so close to my face today. Don't know what I've done with my setup, but if I'm really zoomed in, sorry about that. But today I'm gonna do a really requested video actually, and I'm gonna talk about university packing. Specifically, I'm gonna go through two different categories of things. The first of which is things that are really useful to take to university that most people forget. And the second category is things which a lot of people take to university that aren't really necessary. I could obviously do a big video about everything you need to pack for uni, but everyone knows you need to take clothes, pans, so I'm gonna go for the extremes. Things you really would find useful and things that maybe you wouldn't find so useful. So yeah, without further ado, let's get on with it. I'll start with the things that are really useful to take to university, but a lot of people forget. This is just from my experience. Obviously people's opinions differ, but these are things that I think I maybe forgot, but are really useful. So the first thing is a way to carry laundry around. So say you have a laundry basket that's kind of heavy, like my one here at home is a wicker laundry basket. I wouldn't want to be picking that up and carrying it, but you're gonna have to lug your laundry around because the chances are that your washing and drying machines are gonna be nowhere near your room. So I would really recommend one of those blue IKEA bags. They're perfect. You can fit so much stuff in them, then you can just shove it over your shoulder and trek to wherever your washing machines are and shove it in the wash. So that is the first thing, a ways and means of carrying your laundry about. Probably a blue IKEA bag. Then the second thing is an extension lead or two. You'll probably find that your rooms in your halls or house will not have enough plug sockets, or the plug sockets will be in really inconvenient places like right behind your bed. So one of those extension leads that takes one socket into about 4 is absolutely perfect because you're going to have way too many appliances otherwise. And I use mine religiously. I just took it from my plug socket behind my bed round to the side of my bed, put it kind of between my bed and bedside table, and then it stayed there all year and was so useful for me. So yeah, extension lead or 2 I would definitely recommend. Then the next thing is board or card games. I don't know why, but I was the only person in my entire flat that brought a board or card game, which was Cards Against Humanity, and we got sick of it. We wanted to play games quite a lot, and having only Cards Against Humanity wasn't very good. So another of my flatmates went home specifically to get Monopoly. So I would definitely recommend if you take one board or card game, and hopefully other people will as well, then you'll have a range of things to play. They're good to play at parties or if you're drinking. One that I would actually really recommend as well as Cards Against Humanity is Uno, because it doesn't take much thought, so you can play it whilst a bit tipsy and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, definitely board and card games. Then the next thing is a doorstop. I admittedly didn't use mine that much, but I still did use it, and I think it's really useful. It's a way to make your halls experience a lot more social, because if you're just sat behind a closed door all the time, then you're not going to see people. Obviously you can go to the kitchen, but sometimes you fancy just chilling in your room. But if you prop your door open, then if anyone comes past, they can come in and say hi. I just think it's a really nice way to socialise, especially at the start, during Freshers Week. A doorstop is really ideal. The next thing I think you should take is command hooks and strips. The command strips are really useful for putting anything up on your walls, because obviously you won't be allowed to nail things into the walls. So command strips are the perfect alternative and they won't ruin the walls or anything. But one thing specifically that I found amazingly useful is a command hook next to my door that I used to keep my keys on. And then if my keys weren't on that hook, I knew that I'd misplaced them. It just meant I lost my keys a lot less often. It was really useful when I was under the influence of alcohol, because I knew where my keys would be, and then I would always even remember to put them back there when I came back. Honestly, just a key hook, because losing your keys would have been an absolute nightmare. It would have cost about £75 for me, I think, if I lost my keys. So a hook next to my door was an absolute lifesaver. And command hooks are also useful for putting other things up. I used command hook clip things to put up my fairy lights, and that works so well. So just anything by command is really useful for decorating a room. And that leads quite nicely onto the next thing, which is things to decorate your walls with. Walls in uni halls are just so bare, and if you've got 4 bare walls around you, it's just a bit miserable. So just take as much as possible to decorate your walls with. I definitely got focused on different items of furniture and kind of neglected the fact that I would need to decorate my walls. Without my fairy lights up and posters and pictures, my room would have looked so bare. Kind of almost the more stuff you have on your walls, the better. Obviously it depends what aesthetic you're going for, but in my opinion, empty walls are just really sad, and a room feels a lot more like home if the walls aren't just bare. And fairy lights are especially perfect for wall decorating. I'll insert a picture here if I remember, but I decorated an entire wall by just zigzagging fairy lights down it and pinning photos up. It worked really well, made my room look a lot less bare, and I got so many compliments on it. So that's one way of decorating a massive wall if it takes your fancy. But just anything to decorate your wall is really important in my opinion. And the next thing is a reed diffuser, and this is just because rooms in student halls and houses probably haven't been lived in all summer, so when you get there you'll often find there's quite a stale smell that isn't the most pleasant, so a reed diffuser just really easily fixes that. They also look really cute, like sat on a shelf or on the top of a dresser or whatever. I know both girls and guys that had reed diffusers in their room because it's just really convenient and makes your room smell a lot better, so I would definitely recommend getting yourself one of those. These next three things are actually really random, but the first is screwdrivers, and they are definitely not the first thing that came to mind when I was thinking about packing for university. In fact, I completely forgot them, then got to university, got out my mirror that I'd bought from Argos and realised I needed to screw it together and just didn't have anything. That made moving in day so much more stressful because I had to literally go to Sainsbury's and find screwdrivers to buy. It like added an hour onto my day and it was just a big stress that wasn't required, so definitely take screwdrivers. You only need like two. I don't really know the technical words, but the one with the cross head and then the one with the flat head, that'll do the job. I was the only person in my flat with screwdrivers the whole year. People would ask me for them if things fell apart, so definitely take some screwdrivers because you'll find them useful. Then the next thing is scissors. I had a pair in my kitchen and my bedroom because I needed them so much. You just need scissors to like open things, wrap presents, and it's just not another thing that you don't really think of but is so useful, and having a pair in your kitchen and your bedroom means you're not like running between the two. So definitely scissors. And the third, probably the most random of them all, is a sewing kit. Now I needed my sewing kit as soon as I got to uni because I bought a laundry basket and it was missing a part, so I had to do like a bit of DIY to fix up the laundry basket. And then I also used my sewing kit if like any of my clothes ripped that I really liked, which happened on occasion, or like the seams started falling apart. It's just so useful. You don't even have to know how to sew that much, but you're not going to be wanting to spend money on like replacement clothes if like say your favorite pair of leggings just splits at the bottom. It's so easy to just sew it back up. So definitely take a sewing kit with like just a couple of colours of thread inside because it's going to be so useful for you. Now the last two things that I think you should take that you may or may not think of are actually clothing items. The first is a ball gown or a suit if you're a guy, because pretty much all universities I know have balls / formals, and a fancy gown is just not something you want to be spending your money on. You can literally take your prom dress or the suit you wore to prom as long as it still fits you, because no one cares if the dress is already on your Instagram or you've worn it before, as long as you're dressed the part and like look the part. And trust me, you just don't want to be spending your money on a suit or a ball gown when you're at uni. So if you can reuse any you have at home, I definitely recommend taking just one, because chances are you'll definitely have a ball or formal at some point in the year. And the final kind of clothing item is any fancy dress things you have. Again, it's just not something you want to spend money on, but a lot of uni socials have fancy dress, especially if you're in a sports team, or even just for Halloween. Like, you're definitely going to dress up for Halloween if you don't dress up for anything else. And if you've just got a Halloween costume lying around at home that you've worn once before, like, take it to uni, because you're just not going to want to spend money on any fancy dress items, because you know you're only going to wear it a few times. It doesn't seem like a worthwhile investment. If you've got anything at home, take it. Could just be cat ears or like a lei or just like a pirate eye patch, literally anything that can make an outfit so useful. And now onto the things that a lot of people take to university that you maybe don't need. I think these are a lot more controversial and down to personal opinion, but I'll just go through the things that come to my mind when I think of this. The first and probably the biggest is a clothes Zara or a clothes horse, whatever you like to call them. My halls at uni didn't like clothes Zaras at all because they make like a damp smell. They would actually shout at you if you had one in your bedroom and were using it. You can also get like rails that go over your radiator to do the same thing, but they can be a fire hazard, and again, my halls didn't like them. My room was also way too small to have a clothes area in it anyway. Like, if I put an area up in the middle of my room, that would take my entire room. I know a lot of people put them up in their corridors, but my corridor wasn't big enough. Corridors in other halls maybe are, but then you've got like your underwear in the middle of the corridor, which again, a bit like, I wouldn't want to just leave my underwear in the middle of the corridor. And as I said, my halls just don't like it at all. Honestly, I just put all my clothes in the tumble dryer in one big load, and I put it on like the coolest setting. I know a lot of clothes say like do not tumble dry these days, but nothing shrank all year. Everything was absolutely fine because I just put it on the coolest setting. And then that meant I didn't have any damp clothes lying around in my room. It just made my life a lot easier. I didn't need to bother with an error and wasn't going to get in trouble. So honestly, I wouldn't take one, but some people would maybe say do, but I definitely just say don't. Then the next thing is too many obscure kitchen items. I'm thinking things like weighing scales, pizza cutters, like pizza trays, cheese graters, things you're not going to use very much. Don't get them all because you're not going to have the storage space. The best way to approach this is find your flat on the internet, like make a flat group chat. Universities usually have freshers pages. From there you can get into maybe an accommodation group chat, and from in there you can find your flatmates, then talk to them, divvy up the items between you, like get someone to take a cheese grater, someone to take a pizza board, etc, etc, because you just don't need 6 cheese graters in one flat and there is not the space. So definitely spread that out between the members of your flat because it makes it so much better. Then also don't take too much stationery. The thing I've got in my mind especially is folders. I wouldn't advise buying any folders before you get to uni because you'll find a lot of people just don't use them. I was actually in the exception because since I did maths, I handwrote my notes because it's so much easier to handwrite like symbols, like fractions and stuff than it is to type them up quickly. So I handwrote my notes and then had to put them in folders, but I bought my folders as and when I needed them and when I knew what I was doing. It wouldn't have been worth going to uni with like 12 folders pre-bought because I just wouldn't have used them all. So definitely wait until you've maybe been on your course for a week before buying a load of stationery because chances are you won't need it. Most people just use like one note and make all the notes online. Then also don't bring too many sets of bedding. I'd say 2 at absolute maximum. I actually only used 1. I bought a second and didn't even open it. It stayed in its wrapping all year because I decided I just didn't love it as much as my other bedding. So I always wanted my nice bedding on my bed, and it was so easy to just wash, dry and put the same bedding back on my bed all in a day. So there was actually no requirement to have 2 sets at all, and it was just taking up excessive storage space. You could maybe take 2, say, I don't know, if you spilt drink on your bed in the middle of the night and you didn't have time to wash it, so you just change into a new one. So maybe I guess that would be the only reason a second was like really necessary. That never happened to me, but that would maybe be the only reason I'd say a second set of bedding is useful. But you can probably just get away with 1, especially if you were me and fall in love with one bedding and the other one just isn't as good. Chances are you're not going to want it on there because you're going to want your room to be how you like it. And I have one extra thing to tell you about. It's not necessarily a packing thing, but it kind of comes in the same bracket. And it is the question I get asked the most by you guys on like Instagram DMs. And that is freshers tickets and wristbands. My advice on this is, unless at your university the wristband is university owned and it's like common that everyone gets it, then maybe consider it. But in Leeds, the uni doesn't do its own wristband, or at least it didn't for my year. And the wristbands that were being sold online for kind of a lot of money were created by external companies, so you could get into all their events all week. But the thing is with these companies, their events aren't always what they advertise. So they'll say there's going to be confetti cannons and inflatables and like free food. There's usually none of that, or not that I got to see anyway. So these events are a bit of a rip-off for a start. The wristbands really aren't saving you much. Chances are you're not going to want to go to most of these events in the end because when you get there, your flatmates probably won't want to go. And that means you will have just wasted your money as well, because these wristbands are made by the same company. Every event is run by the same company and it makes them all very similar, so they get very repetitive. So I definitely recommend just not buying a wristband, especially if it's not uni owned. And the thing you should do with Freshers Week is, again, as I was talking to you before, make like a flatmate group chat or talk in your accommodation group chat. Work out what others are doing. There might be specific events that everyone wants to go to. Uni run events are usually the best. Like at Leeds in Freshers this year, I would recommend Fruity on the Friday and Club Tropicana on the Tuesday because they are both run by the university. They're going to be really good. Definitely recommend both of those. But work out what your flat are doing, because there is absolutely no point in forking out like £40 for a wristband and going to just one of the events because your flat don't want to go to any of them. It's just really not worth it. Wait to see what your flat are doing. I cannot stress this enough. Don't waste your money. Of course, it's worth maybe buying tickets for a couple of specific events, but dedicating yourself to going to all events run by the same company all week is just not the one. And if you go to Leeds and want any recommendations on actual nights out, obviously I've just given 2, but if you want more recommendations on good nights out, hit me up, comment below, DM me on Instagram. Like, I'll happily give you recommendations, but definitely collaborate with your flat because you don't want to be the only one with a ticket to one event and then just not use it. So yeah, that is it for this video. I know it was a bit obscure, but I was trying to hit the 2 extremes because all of you of course know that you need to bring like pans and towels to uni. Like, there was no point in me going through everything, so I just went for a few maybe obscure things that you might not have thought of. So I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and hit subscribe down below to see more from me. You can hit the little bell icon if you want to be notified when I upload. And this is going to be part of like a miniature series of like back to uni stuff, so if there's any more back to uni videos that you want to see, comment them down below as well. And until next time, bye!